astronauts, this is Brandy and welcome back to Astro Tarot Research. Today's reading is what is your professional reputation? Last week we covered just general public image reputation. Now we're getting more specific. Now we have 5 piles to choose from as always, but before we get into it, I do want to remind you to like, comment, and subscribe, you lovely astronauts. And feel free to follow me on TikTok and Instagram if you are so interested. Now let us jump into these piles. We have pile number 1, pile number 2, pile number 3, pile number 4, and pile number 5. So let's not waste any more time and just sit back, relax, and choose. Hey pal, number 1, let's get into what your professional reputation is. We have the 9 of coins, the Ace of Wands, the 2 of Swords, the 6 of Cups, and the 4 of Swords. Okay, so right off the bat, we know that you have a pretty solid professional reputation, meaning you are someone who people feel is very accomplished, independent, and someone who is highly specialized and highly skilled. Not only that, but it represents you being able to perform all your duties in a manner that is appreciated and excellent. I mean, even if you feel underappreciated, people are usually happy with the quality of your work with this 9 of Pentacles here. If they weren't, we'd have different cards for it. And they also feel like you're just someone who is generally professional and likes to get the task done, but also at work you may be more someone who's a little bit more laid back, because not only does the 9 of coins represent all the hard work and fruits of your labor, but it represents enjoying the fact that you have completed whatever it is that you've completed. Now, for some of you, it may just be like you're enjoying your own product. Like if you're someone who creates bracelets, you may wear your own bracelets, right? If you're not someone who, you know, has their own service, like let's say you work for, I don't know, a marketing firm. This might just be you. Well, marketing firms get perks. So this could be you enjoying those perks. But outside of that, this is you taking those nice long lunch breaks, talking to coworkers, walking around, like being, like, look how happy and cheerful this card is. So like being like very cheerful-ish, or even just at least approachable enough in the work environment that people are like, oh yeah, I kind of want to, you know, talk to this person. So you make time to do your work, but also time to socialize at work. With the Ace of Wands, there's something about your energy that is very innovative, creative, and passionate. To me, this represents feeling like very lively, very energetic. And sometimes it could just mean that you're very opinionated with the Ace of Wands here, or that you can get things done very quickly if so needed. And you'll usually be right on top of something. Like if somebody asks for something, you usually will get to it right away with Ace of Wands energy here. But it's interesting that we have the 2 of Swords. So the 2 of Swords can either represent that you yourself sometimes can be a little bit indecisive on how you want to do things. So Ace of Wands says you want to get to things right away, but you may feel like you need to reflect things over. But what I get from this is more so, you know, you're a fast decision maker. So sometimes when we get this, it can represent having to seek the opinions of others in a way. And so you may seek the advice or guidance from others. You may ask other people a lot of questions about certain things, but ultimately you'll make the decision and you'll do it pretty quickly. I mean, Ace of Wands and 2 of Swords is like, I'm making a fast decision. Another thing that this can mean is taking a break from work, like being stagnant. So if you like lost a job or you change professions, Two of Swords can represent that. Two of Swords can represent, I've decided to go in a different direction. It can represent being at a standstill, or even feeling like you're at a point in your career where you can no longer process, or at a certain job you may feel like there's nothing more to achieve there. And so you're at a place where you're looking to move on for other opportunities. Things feel stale, things feel old. You're just like, I'm not really into it. So your professional reputation can be that you're someone who is ready to branch out and to seek different opportunities. Or like I said before, if you were somebody who was employed for a certain period of time, this would represent a break in your work, especially with the Four of Swords there. And this can also represent going in a different direction because we have the Two of Swords. For some of you, and I think this might have been a smaller bunch of you, just what I'm picking up on is that you may be non-confrontational. Somebody who doesn't want to rattle the boat too much. Even if you feel passionate about something, you may feel like you have to hold your tongue. That's for a small portion of you. The others is what, I already stated before. Six of Cups and the Four of Swords. Once again, we have this energy where it's becoming about laying back, being sort of childlike and silly in nature, enjoying your work environment. So something to me makes it feel like you make your work environment almost like your home or your sanctuary. You're like, I spend enough time here. We're going to have some, intimate, close conversations. There's going to be some sort of connection with people. Though these cards represent a level of independence, especially with the Nine of Swords here and the Two of Swords, because the Two of Swords can be like, step back and get away from me a little bit. Ultimately, people do enjoy your company. These cards are very much so like this. They feel like you're very supportive. They feel like they're more laid back. Even if you can be, sometimes the Ace of Swords can be somebody's a little bit hot-tempered, or somebody's like a very direct, or can be, how some people can be very unfiltered with their speech. Trust me, I've been like this a lot, and and I know the consequences of that, being very direct and blunt. So they may feel like you're very direct, very blunt sometimes. And, but overall, the energy is very positive, is what I'm getting here. They feel like, if we're looking at you from your boss's perspective, they feel as though you're definitely someone they can rely on to show up to work, be consistent, and get the job done. Especially with the Six of Cups energy, it's kind of like, oh, I know what to expect. Their past behavior matches up to what exactly that they're saying. And they get a more relaxed and calm energy from you. And they definitely believe that you are a hard worker with the Ace of Wands there. Very passionate, very much wanting to get to things done and get things done quickly. Like I said, they may feel like you're someone who just needs a little bit guidance sometimes. But for the most part, you can work pretty much on your own. They don't have to hold your hand the whole time or anything like that. They just feel like, okay, every now and then I just give you a little push and I can just let you do your thing, okay? Or I can give you a little guidance and then, let you do your thing. And sometimes we agree, sometimes we don't agree, but it doesn't become a whole battle. It's not this huge thing. It's pretty much what I'm getting from these cards here. But overall, people feel like you're a very accomplished person, very hardworking person, definitely very reflective, thoughtful, likes to really understand the situation and assess what they need to get done. I don't know if you form too many friends at work. The conversation's more so like, let's keep it friendly, let's keep it tolerable. You may have intimate conversations, as I mentioned before, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you're forming super outside of deep work connections. It's more so you may get to know your coworkers in a more intimate fashion than most people, but you do sort of draw those boundaries here with the Two of Swords. Two of Swords is like, okay, you're a work bestie. Like, they're kind of like that, or you're a work wife, work husband, and draw the line there. So Two of Swords energy is very much so like that. And definitely there's an element of being private with the Four of Swords here, because the Four of Swords steps away from everyone and says, hey, I need to take a break and go for the rest of the world. Or you could just be a person who uses their PTO and vacation time a lot. Excuse me. And as a result of that, you have that reputation of just having very much like, I need some leisure, I need some peace, I need a break, right? But yeah, ultimately, this is very good in terms of your professional reputation. Though, like I said, there is an element of like, oh, I took a break, or I was unemployed, or I had a moment where I just needed something for myself to reassess. They still look at you as somebody very accomplished and hardworking. It's not like anything that anybody's really all that concerned about. And people find that you're doing well for the skill set and the work that you've put in. That's what people view you as, okay? So that's what I have for you, pile number one. Very great that people see to view you in this wonderful light, and I hope that they continue to do so. So I will see you next time. Au revoir. Hey, pal, number two, let's get started on your reading and what your professional reputation is. We have the Queen of Wands, the Two of Wands, the Ten of Cups, to reverse that real quick, and the Devil and the Five of Pentacles. All right, so I had to reverse that because water and wands don't go together. I've said that a billion times, so they just have a little friction there. Well, what we have here is the Queen of Wands. So people think you are a confident and capable individual, very much talented, forward-thinking, charismatic, and that you are someone who is able to fulfill their responsibilities. Not only that, but you are great at planning, thinking ahead, as well as having foresight in your role and being able to anticipate the needs of either clients or potentially your bosses or co-workers in case someone needs a helping hand. The Two of Wands is very much explorative energy. It thinks about what is the next step that I could possibly take. And keeping that in mind, when I look at the other cards, because we have the Queen of Wands and she's doing Two of Wands activities, meaning looking elsewhere, this leads me to believe that your professional reputation is a bit of like, I'm going to move on to the role that suits me. You're not known to stay in a place where you feel unhappy, which is why we have this Ten of Cups reversed in this way. It lets me know that you have a reputation for being like, hey, I don't like it here. I don't feel this role is fulfilling for me. I have to go. People believe that you need to be satisfied with your work. It is not simply just about the money for you. You have to feel a level of respect, as well as you need to be able to be free to express yourself in your role. And I think right now, at your current place, now this may not be for all of you, but it doesn't look like you're getting that respect that you deserve, because we have the Devil and the Five of Coins. And so when we have the Devil card here, it can represent one or two things. Either you yourself or this Devil card energy, where you can be like this overbearing manager, micromanager, etc. Or you yourself may be coming up against a glass ceiling where your opinions aren't being respected, where you are facing challenges because you're being undervalued or being trapped in a situation that just isn't fair, okay? It's possible with the Devil card here that, you know, a lot of women will face sexism, a lot of people of color will face racism. Whatever the case may be, the Devil card would be representative of an unmovable force, or this force that feels like, okay, this is a toxic work culture. And when it's next to the Five of Coins, it's kind of like saying being undervalued, being left out in the cold, being tossed aside. So it may feel like that the work that you do there isn't being appreciated and valued, or your opinions aren't being appreciated and valued, your service isn't appreciated and valued. It doesn't matter what it is that you do, because the cards here let you know that you're great. People know you're great, but people can see the inequities and unfairness. It is very likely, given this pile, that people believe that you are not being paid your worth. Your professional reputation is that you are doing too much for a place or a job or multiple jobs. I don't know how many jobs you have that suits you, that doesn't suit you, sorry, that doesn't suit you and doesn't appreciate the work that you do. People feel like you are better than the current circumstances that you are facing. And they believe that you will be, if you aren't thinking about leaving, they think that you're going to up and leave. Overall, people do see you as someone who wants to be a team player, wants to be part of the group, but it feels like maybe for some of you, your ideas are too innovative. Sometimes I get the Devil card to represent like old structures not willing to change. And when we have the Two of Wands, that represents uniqueness, revamping, new creative ideas. And it's like, those creative ideas aren't welcome. This Ten of Cups is pouring out. It's like saying, I think we'll stick to the same old, okay? So not everyone's happy. Some people are happy, but not everyone's happy. And not everyone's cup is filled equally. So even if there is some sort of benefits, not everyone is reaping the same benefits. So it's like an unhappy sort of community. Overall, like I said, you do have a positive reputation. This is for most of you. Now for some of you, you know, and if this doesn't apply, let it fly, right? For some of you, you may have a little bit of a reputation for being not a team player, being someone who really wants to work independently, someone who is like, I want it my way or the highway. I don't like working with others, almost like being, you know, a pariah in your work environment. Now, this is just some of you. It's not all of you, right? That's just a, you know, a small portion of you. But I have to mention that because this is about your professional reputation. And if we get the Devil and the Five of Coins, that means some of your reputation is kind of like, for some of you guys, it's saying, hey, you don't really play well with others. And people see that. They may think that you're brilliant, you're smart, you're creative, but you don't know how to balance the ideas of other people. Or you may do it in a way where people feel like your communication is coming off too harsh, or, you know, too demanding or too bossy or something along the lines of that. And people may feel like, oh, this person is kind of icy, you know what I mean? That happens for some of you. But what I do see here is somebody who is overall brilliant, and you're trying to make the best of your circumstances. And people see that you may be coming up against some struggles and that you need to move strategically to deal with these systemic barriers that you may be facing. That is something that I am getting from these cards. So they think you're planning your new move, you're planning your get out of Dodge escape route, and that you're ready to move on to something different. That is what I'm getting overall. Your work is great. It's just that I don't know, they're not valuing it. They want something, I don't know, it's different, or maybe they want it from somebody else, and maybe they just think you don't fit what they want in the company. I don't know. This is very, like I said, for some of you, it's very weird vibes. The environment is very, like, strange. I'm not going to lie. But overall, most of you have a positive image, and the other ones, you know, they may feel a little bit more competitive, because the Five of Coins is also a 5 card, so it represents challenges. And Five of Coins is like competing for resources. And so maybe you have some coworkers who feel like they're competing for certain positions, competing for raises, competing for bonuses. And that does happen in companies, because companies only have so many funds that they have allocated for bonuses and raises per, I don't know if it's quarter, might be half a year or something like that. Like, they figure it out. I think most companies figure it out like summertime. That's supposed to be the time you usually ask for a raise, and usually they'll give that raise in the fall. But if you ask them in the fall, they probably already decided who they want to give the raises and the bonuses and etc. to. So yeah, companies have an allocated fund for that, and a lot of your coworkers may feel a more competitive spirit, and so they look at you as more somebody who's in the way of their own opportunities, okay? It reminds me of that movie Parasite in a way. But that's how I see this pile, number 2. And I'm not trying to say anything upsetting. I just want to read what the cards are saying. And like I said, you know, all the messages aren't for everyone. If it doesn't apply, feel free to choose another pile. Or maybe I'm not the reader for you. You know, so be it. But that is what I have for you. And I will see you next time. Au revoir. Hey, pile number 3. Let's get started on your professional reputation. We have the 4 of Coins, the Ace of Swords, Page of Cups, the Fool, and the Chariot. Okay, so overall, people are very, very much impressed with your professional reputation. They feel like you're someone who has a great track record, and that you are very highly accomplished and skilled. Generally, with the Chariot, people are just impressed with what you have accomplished. So you may be somebody who has received awards, has received praise, received accomplishments, has worked for a, you know, very reputable company, has a very prestigious position, something along the lines of that, or even just higher up at your company. But either way, generally, the reputation is stellar, especially when we have it combined with the Fool. So it lets me believe that you may even have brought some innovation or change when it comes to your company, or that you are somebody who stands out when it comes to your work and what you do. You are very much someone who is, you know, an alien superstar, as Beyonce would say. Like, you do your own thing, and there isn't anyone quite like you in your work environment. Now, the 4 of Coins and the Ace of Swords here, I can get this combination of cards to represent someone who is very much cautious when it comes to their communication and their words. You can be very reserved in your speech, or people may feel that you're very, like, politically correct, and it kind of makes sense, especially when we have the Page of Cups following it. It's more than likely you're not going to be as maybe honest or straightforward with people, because you may feel it comes off too harsh. And you're going to want to soften the blow, cushion the blow when it comes to how you communicate and navigate your work environment. So people feel that you're someone who is, because the Ace of Swords is reversed and the Swords upright can represent honesty, they may feel like you're somebody who's going to, like I said, not be as direct and open when it comes to providing maybe critical feedback or sharing possible your own personal challenges, whatever the case may be, because you want to create relationships that are more grounded and make people feel more approachable. And a way to do that is to obviously avoid saying anything that is too controversial. People will feel that you are more easy to approach and engage with because you're not likely to criticize them in any way. Okay? That's one interpretation of this for some of you, right? Another way this can be is that you really like to take your time when it comes to providing thoughtful feedback. That's another interpretation of it. So if the communication is honest, then it's saying that you're just taking your time when it comes to delivering it. So someone may have to make a mistake once, make 2 times or 3 times before you say something or before you approach them. The Ace of Swords reverse can be a little bit more of a hands-off approach. Like, let me see what they're going to do before I say something to them. Overall, with the Chariot, it definitely represents that you're someone who is proactive, for sure. You're not one to wait on someone else's direction. If you see an issue, you're going to take charge. You're going to take over. And not only that, but your professional reputation looks like you've overcome a great deal of obstacles. Overall, people perceive you as someone being very much cautious, not a huge risk taker when it comes to the Four of Coins. Very conservative. If you're in finances, this would be like you're very conservative when it comes to your financial investments. Or if you're, working on projects and you choose those projects, this would be very conservative when it comes to the projects that you choose. If you have something like, let's say you were a waitress or something like that. I'm trying to think of like a role. This would be you being like choosing to engage with customers in a way that you can ensure that you provide a stable income. Meaning, like, maybe you go to the hostess and say, oh gosh, this person's my regular, please sit them at my table. Instead of waiting for them to sit someone at somebody else's table who, instead of waiting for them to sit someone else at your table who you may not know. So instead of taking a risk and gamble and just see who shows up, this is more like, okay, I'm going to take control of the reins and ensure that, my regulars are in my section so I can provide myself with a stable income. Okay, so they see you very cautious in how you approach your work, making sure that you go over the fine lines, making sure you go over the details. And then the Page of Cups definitely represents a element of creativity to you, where a lot of the times your communication can be your ideas can be very much intuitive. With the Ace of Swords reverse, this may feel like to some people there's not a lot of, what's the word I want to look for? Research or backing when it comes to your ideas that you may put forth. You may be putting forth ideas based on intuition. It's kind of like in all those detective movies where they're like, oh, I know this person's the murderer. And then they're like, the captain or some other person is like, well, what evidence do you have, right? You're one of those people who can go off of intuition. You just need the time to gather your thoughts and then put it out in the world. But these are good intuitive thought process. When we have the Fool here, it can represent Uranus, which is like this eureka idea, this moment where you have like, oh, this is a great idea. This is something that I think we should do, which is very interesting because like I said, you have this element of cautiousness to you. But these cards on the bottom here show that to some degree you are adventurous. I'm guessing maybe you're just cautious when it comes to your communication, or maybe even just, like I've said, if you're in a financial job, or like if you're a waitress, whatever, trying to like, not specifically a waitress, but any sort of job to ensure that you are gaining the clientele that you need to secure a certain amount of income once a month. Like if you were a YouTuber, you're like, okay, I know I need to make 20 YouTubes a month to make this amount of money, right? So there's some element of strategy to you to ensure that you are stable, but you're also open to new ideas and new adventures. Another part of your professional reputation is possibly that you travel for work. So if you're somebody who goes places for work, if you know, it doesn't even have to be far, it could be local travel, that could be part of your reputation. I know at my previous job, the marketing department would travel for like Art Basel and different events and things along the lines of that. A lot of people in marketing will have to travel. It happens in that way. Certain jobs you will have to travel for. So this is part of that reputation where you have to have an element of sociability. You have to be strategic about how you communicate with people because you're building business relationships. And so people can view you as somebody who is great at building those relationships and helping putting, you know, the company or even yourself as an entrepreneur, if you're an entrepreneur, on the map, okay? That is one of your strengths that people see within you. Very much a determined person. Always people will see you as somebody who's reliable, who can get things done. And generally, you can be very open and warm and inviting towards people. And you're definitely the type of person who wants to ensure that you clear up any sort of misunderstandings. You definitely want to remain approachable, but I think because we have this Four of Coins here, you do have certain boundaries and certain things that you just will not discuss when it comes to, you know, your boss, your coworkers, and etc. Like you're very clear on those boundaries, and it can be, you know, awkward for you if someone tries to cross that, right? I definitely do think that you are an effective leader. For sure. And generally people are satisfied when it comes to your work. I mean, with the Chariot here, it's like, okay, I'm gonna keep going. I know it's gonna stop me. I'm definitely in my element, and I can't be beat. I'm on a roll here, and I'm gonna make sure that we're all on the same page. I think I've covered the full gambit of what everyone else is kind of thinking when it comes to you. Definitely someone, for some people this could even mean like work remotely, because we have such a two cards representing like distance in a way, and that can be part of your reputation. Yeah, just someone who's like very adaptable and optimistic. That's the last one we want to say. People look at you as somebody who's generally an optimistic person, and you like to think the situation's going to work out for the better rather than the worse. They don't get like a negative vibe from you from a professional perspective. And this applies to, you know, your boss, coworkers, etc. Generally, they feel like you're somebody who is always trying to look on the bright side and to ensure that everyone else can sort of see the same vision in your work environment, okay? Now, that is what I have for you, pile number 3. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you next time. If this pile doesn't suit you, feel free to choose another pile. And au revoir. Hey, pile number 4. Let's get started on your professional reputation. We have the 7 of Coins, the King of Swords. I know it says the Ace of Swords on here, but we just had the Ace of Swords, and I had to look at the book. And apparently this is the King of Swords. I'm not sure why they have this Ace of Swords printed. The Hierophant, the 9 of Coins, and the Moon. Now, all right, your reputation. So, hope you guys can see the cards. The 7 of Coins represents that people view you as someone who is very detail-oriented and methodical in their work, and possibly even in their interactions or in your interactions with other people. You are a very reflective person and someone who is very dedicated to your work. They feel in the long run, long term, like they believe that you're the type who would be reliable and steady and stay with your company or job for a long period, because this card represents dedication and persistence and striving towards, you know, long-term goals. So it would imply that if this were your boss who's like looking at you and your professional reputation, etc., they view you as someone who they believe would be a part of their team for quite some time, or part of the company for some time, or whatever the case may be. If you're someone who works on your own, people believe that your business has the potential to be very long lasting and have some longevity to it. When we have this 7 of Coins, King of Swords, I don't know why the Ace of Swords is throwing me, King of Swords combination here. Now, this is interesting because when we look at this coming together, this can represent that either you may struggle a little bit to make decisions, like there's a sense of indecisiveness about you, because the 7 of Coins likes to take their time, and sometimes when the King of Swords is reversed like this, it's almost like you're taking a little too much time, or you're too cautious, or you're too detail oriented in a way. But other times this can be perceived as you having a very, what's the word, adaptable way of communicating with others. Because normally upright, the King of Swords is very direct, honest, looks for the facts and etc. But reversed in this way, this may suggest that you might be a little bit more empathetic and maybe more open to different perspectives and willing to adjust, you know, several strategies and how you approach things. The King of Swords becomes a little bit more humane and empathetic rather than business minded in that way. That is one positive reputation. Now, for some of you, it could just imply that people may feel like you may be too methodical and too rigid, or, you know, sometimes people may want to over plan things to the point where it feels restricted. So that's some of you, and then the other portion is exactly what I explained before, how you might be more willing to take in the unconventional opinions of others, which goes into what I'm looking at here with the 7 of Coins, the King of Swords, and the Hierophant. This can mean that you are more willing to improve upon existing structures and to create innovation within those structures and solutions. So you may not want to rock the boat too much and completely transform your work environment, but if you see something like, let's say you think, okay, I think we could come up with a different filing system for XYZ. So you're challenging the current system, but it's not in a way that is completely out of the box or unheard of or too extreme in a way, but you are challenging things. You're trying to approach in a new, innovative way, and you're taking on technically new challenges. So even if it's something small that way, it could be something along the lines of, you know, I see that, like, let's say you're into social media. You could say, okay, I see that a lot of my viewers like to watch things at 3 p.m. Well, instead of posting at 2 p.m., how about we post at 3 p.m., where the time where my viewers like to view things, like if you were into social media. So it's more so you're open to changing your current work system within its framework. So people believe that you have an open mind, but it's not too extreme, and you're within the organizational culture. You are very supportive of the environment, and you're innovating in a way that's not too extreme, that it, you know, shakes the table, okay? If that makes sense. You're willing to challenge things that are outdated. Another thing that we see is that your reputation could possibly be that you are a teacher, you are a guide, you are someone who instructs others, and that you may have a very unconventional way of doling out lessons, or it's possible that you are someone who, like, communicate in a different manner. Like, let's say most of your team is in the office. Maybe you're somebody who is remote, or vice versa in some certain instances. But it's the communication style that's a little bit different from those around you. Now, it could be that you are a little bit more intuitive about your communication, or you're very analytical. You may even overthink things at times. But either way, your interactions with people are generally pleasant, because the Hierophant is going to keep things professional, and they're going to stick by the rules, and they're going to be someone who is, I guess, not too extreme, because the Hierophant is connected to Taurus, and Taurus is ruled by Venus, which represents balance. Okay? So there's an element of being balanced, being consistent, being reliable. This is how people are viewing you within your reputation. And not only that, but there's definitely an element of being very, very independent. People feel like you're someone who is better working alone. Not to say that you can't work with others, but you would be better off sort of leading others rather than working in a team. People feel that you're someone who is very much great with independent work, and having a sense of your own autonomy is very important to you. This also feels like you rely on your own personal inner guidance to let you know what exactly that you need to get done, how it needs to get done, how you communicate with others. It's just an element of following your intuition as it guides you through the workplace. Another thing that these cards come out, what sticks out to me is the fact that a lot of people may be unclear about what it is that you do, because the Moon card has an element of mystery, and this would imply working either behind the scenes, or people just are not clued into the day-to-day responsibilities and tasks that you may take on. Just there are parts of your role that are just not visible to others, and thus there is just that dark cloak over, like, what is everything that this person handles. And or it could be possible that you're someone who's like, hey, I like to go into work, I like to get in, I like to get out, because these cards definitely represent that. It's not a lot of fun chit chat, kind of like sociable energy here. This is more so, I'm ready to work, I'm going to do my work, And then I'm going to go when it's time to leave. For some of you, this can represent, oh, this person works the night shift or they work the second shift. And that's part of the reputation where they feel like, they don't feel like it. They notice that you come in later or you come in during the second half, like if you have shifts in that way. Generally, very calm, cool, collected person. I don't think people know a lot about your personal life, but they feel like there's an element of trustworthiness when it comes to you. And they don't have to feel like, they don't feel like you come across shady. Because the King of Swords reverse could also represent that you're not one to reveal a lot of details and information about yourself, especially within the work environment. People only know from what they can see at work and from the skills that you're developing and how you go about completing your duties. They just kind of know you from, oh, I'm turning in this thing, oh, I'm completing this task, oh, I'm doing this thing. They may not know the nitty-gritty of your personal life. And I think that's what the Moon card is coming in to this. Overall, I think the interactions with you are very pleasurable. People feel like you are someone who earns a decent amount of money, that you are someone who works hard. That's very clear from these cards, that you've earned your position. And not only that, but with the King of Swords here reversed, it lets me know that you are learn from your mistakes. Okay? That you're someone who may be growing in self-awareness, and that people feel like you generally come into work with a positive attitude for the most part. Don't get me wrong, with the Moon card here, it can represent, okay, sometimes this person has their days where they're just like, hey, don't bother me, like I need to keep to myself, like I don't want to bother with anyone. But for the most part, they feel like you're someone who they have generally pleasant interactions with. There could also be this element where people feel like you may take on this leadership role or lead role in a way, because the Moon can represent mother. The Hierophant is like a teacher, a guide. The King of Swords is also a leader. And if you're not in a position of authority, people may still look to you for guidance, for your feedback, for your opinions, because they believe that you're someone who has their head on straight and that you'll give them a level answer for the most part, because you're willing to adjust your thinking based on the information provided to you. Very much by the book, not a rule breaker, follows policies, follows guidelines, you know, making sure that you're not, people can't clock you on anything, showing up on time. Like, you have a very respectable and diplomatic reputation from what I'm looking at with the cards here. I'm trying to think if there's anything else we could possibly add. I'm just gonna leave off where I remember it. I believe I mentioned the behind the scenes work and people unsure of like the specificities of your role. But we do have the Hierophant here. Like I said, they believe that they can trust you, that you will adhere to sound strategies and principles. If you're somebody with a degree who's highly educated, this combination of cards can represent using your educational background as well as your intuition to guide you in decision making. For example, if you were someone in the financial realm and you got a degree in business and now you have to use your financial knowledge and base of financial principles, as well as combine that with your intuition as to how the market will react. It could be the same if you were in advertising, you're using advertising principles and techniques, as well as gauging the pulse of the market. So that is something which the cards are showing here, that you're combining both your intuitive insights as well as your educational and academic backing. And then lastly, the thing that I wanted to mention is that the cards are showing that you are learning to be more confident and secure within yourself, or at least your public image seems like you're learning to feel just more sound when it comes to your decision making. With this King of Swords reverse, it does imply that maybe there's times where you're doubting yourself, where you feel like there's something you're missing, or, you know, you're not picking up on all the information. You don't have all the pieces. But with this Nine of Coins energy, it's showing that you're becoming more solid, you're becoming more confident, especially as you grow and go along this little path here that shows going forth. And I think there is an element of mystery as to what you may do next. Now, this could be because some of you may be a little bit earlier on in your career. Maybe you've expressed interest in other areas. And so the Moon card can represent, you know what, I wonder what the future holds for this person, because they have so much potential to go in different areas, and that you have a lot of different variations and skills and diversity to you. So that is something else that the cards will display, part of your reputation. Like they feel like there's this boundless part of your reputation and even a creative side that you may even branch out to, that if you're not currently working in that sphere, people could potentially see you go in that area. They're like, something about this person gives me creativity, gives me like want to be more free and flowing, and wanting a less structured environment. Something about your energy is giving that. So that is what I have for you, pal number 4, and it has been a pleasure reading for you. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and remember, the future is boundless and endless, and I will see you next time. Au revoir. Hey, pal number 5, let's get started on what your professional reputation is. We have the 6 of Coins, the Queen of Swords, actually that has to be reversed, the 4 of Cups, so cute, the 10 of Cups, and the Knight of Coins. All right, well, aren't you the hard worker here? In fact, you may be a little too focused on the work. Not to start off with any criticism. It's just that whenever I see the Knight of Coins, they work very, very hard, and they don't have to work that hard, you know? It's just very diligent and very detailed oriented, but the Knight of Coins can lack direction because they lack experience and they lack information. Or it could just mean that you like to cover every single detail of everything, and thus you may end up taking on more work than you need to take on. But just want to throw that out there. You do have a reputation of being a little bit of a workaholic. Going to be honest here. That is your professional rep. The 6 of Coins here, though, is a great start because generally people view you as very generous and helpful. Now it's clicking. Now I'm understanding why you're working hard, because immediately my eyes went to the Knight of Coins and I was like, why are you working so hard? Now I'm looking at the 6 of Coins. It's because you're probably helping other people with their work, or you're trying to be helpful to others, maybe giving advice. Could be quite literal, just wanting to give others assistance. Whatever the case may be, whether that is you actually providing support for others in a let me assist you with your task type of way, or giving them advice, or, just helping them in a way. And they are kind of giving you a little bit more work than you need to give. But it's good because people like you for it. I'll be honest. They're like, wow, you're very helpful. We're happy to be here. You're giving us time and effort. But it does seem like this could be burning you out a little bit, because when we have this Queen of Swords here, and don't mind this says Ace of Swords. These cards just say that for some reason. It's definitely the Queen of Swords. I had to check with the book and everything, right? When I first looked at the deck. And when we have the Queen of Swords and the Four of Cups here, it's almost like you may be the type of person who needs to take space and to go into your own little world. The Queen of Swords here can be very like emotionally detached and very much has a tendency to withdraw, especially from social interactions. So it looks like maybe people feel like all the teamwork or the helping out or assisting others is kind of draining your social battery a little bit. So you have a reputation of just needing to have that solitude. Now, for some people, it's just avoid having that solitude moment to yourself because of your social battery being drained. For other people, if you're in a more toxic work environment, then this could just be you wanting to avoid drama, criticism, etc. But either way, your reputation is, hey, I'm gonna need some time to myself. I need to withdraw from everyone. I am the type of person who needs to work independently. And there was another power, or two other pals who like their independent working alone time as well. I need to just reflect, be by myself. It is the way that I can work my best. Not saying that you can't work well with others, because obviously we have this 10 of Cups here. So for sure, you work well with others, but you're just known for being that type of person who may prefer their own company. Okay? That's just what I want to let you know. So this can also just be like you're lost in your own thoughts, or if you're not satisfied in your job, because the Four of Cups can just be like, I'm not satisfied in my work. It can show that you're not happy with your position. People can probably see that on you. If you're getting the Four of Cups coming up, it's letting you know that people feel like you may be disinterested in the work that you're doing. And that's for just the people who are going through that. Yes, it does show. Your disinterest does show if you are going through that. But for sure, it just looks like you need some space to yourself. Another thing is when we have the Six of Coins and the Queen of Swords reversed in this way, and the Four of Cups, it looks like you're taking time to reflect on your communication with others. Perhaps you've had some awkward or less than ideal conversations with your bosses or coworkers and etc. in the past. And with the Queen of Swords reversed, sometimes the Queen of Swords can be critical or harsh. Other times she just may not have the right words to communicate with others, or she can be too rigid in her communication. This is showing that the people around you and your reputation shows that you are somebody who is actively or has taken the time to refine your communication skills and to learn how to engage with others in a way in which they feel valued and respected. And it makes them feel like you're more enjoyable to be around. That's just for a small portion of you. Yes, it can be hard to navigate the workforce and work environments. You may need to code switch. You may need to dress a certain way. You may need to approach somebody 500 different ways. Trust me, I remember when I was a waitress, and one thing about being a waitress is that you kind of like to have to upsell items, right? If you have specialties on the menu, then you have to list the specialties. And there's certain ways you need to list the specialties. You have certain ways, we might say we have our soup of the day, which is our crab soup with rice and wilted kale. Some people are very direct. Other people will say we have a warm, creamy crab soup with a side of wilted kale dashed with sea salt or something. Others will say we have a warm reddish crab soup with crab from the Atlantic served with a side of buttery biscuits and wilted kale sprinkled with sea salt from the, I don't know, from the Pacific Ocean, right? So in that situation, you would have several different servers preparing information for like several different ways. And so when we have this car here and how I'm relating that situation to that, basically it's like you have to learn how to communicate differently with each person. And so people are seeing that you're putting in the effort, or you have put in the effort to learn how to navigate each individual person's boss, management, whatever, whoever, customers, if you're in your own business, personality, and try to work within that. Now, it can make your communication very limited. I think another pile had something similar because we have this Four of Cups following it. And like I said, the Four of Cups can be like, hey, I'm not interested, da 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 da. So it may make your communication a little bit more shorter, less wordy, more concise. But it does seem to create a happy and fulfilling environment. And it looks like people feel heard and it's working, is what I'm saying. You're managing to avoid any conflict or any weird situations along the lines where it's just not, where it's not uncomfortable, okay? You know what I mean? So you're managing to make sure that you're working happily together. So people feel like you guys are one big happy family, and you're that person in the family that just needs their space. Okay? But yeah, they feel like one of us, like you're supportive, you're collaborative, and that, you know, you contribute something valuable to the team. Another thing we have here with this Knight of Coins here is for sure is people see you as very diligent and reliable. You are somebody who is committed to their work and they can see that. And also with this Knight of Coins energy, it does represent the potential to grow and to develop in so many different directions, because the Knight of Coins is about bringing in something new and fresh. Now it's bringing it in slowly, but it is bringing it in. And the Knight of Swords does like to take their time with their work. So people know that you're somebody who's going to be very focused on maybe even being a little bit of a perfectionist, because the Knight of Pentacles can be that perfectionist-like energy. But whatever it is, it goes with what exactly it is, what the company values. You know what? I realize we don't have an we don't have any wands here. So it kind of makes me think that people don't believe that what you're currently doing now is your true passion. Now that could be wrong. That could be wrong. That could just not apply to you. You may like, no, I love what I do. This is everything I've ever wanted. But sometimes when we have that wands here, people may not sense that sense of excitement about what it is that you do. They don't feel like this job is the thing that's motivating you to get up in the morning. They may feel like you're here for some more practical reasons. And generally, you may feel like the environment is peaceful, and so it doesn't rock the boat. It doesn't cause you too much irritation. You're like, okay, this is fine. I like it here. People are treat me with respect, and it pays the bills, or it's my stepping stone to something different. Okay, but they do feel like I said, they feel like they cherish you, that as a team person, you do care for others. You show a level of empathy for other people's problems. And they feel like it wouldn't be the same sort of environment if you weren't there. Like it would just kind of change things up in a way. Because the 10 of Cups is like, oh, family, right? Which can be toxic for work. But like, you know what I mean? They feel like this is somebody who is a part of our clique, how we work together. And without you there, it would feel a little bit like a loss, okay? They do like that you bring a sense of harmony to your work and that you're not there to rattle any cages, shake any, shake any, I don't know what I was going to say, shake any feathers. I don't know. And a couple of pals were like this. A couple of pals had this energy where they weren't, maybe it just means like you astronauts in general just aren't drama starters, which is good. It's good that you astronauts are so great, but following the rules and not going too wild with that wand energy, because the wand energy at work can be very like, you know, party in the club, you know what I mean? Like it's just out there, right? Big and bold, versus you're a little bit more tame, a little bit more modest. Someone people feel is very down to earth and relatable in a way. Maybe even more of like an introvert, somewhat of a homebody, especially if we have the 10 of Cups here. They may feel like, okay, this person goes to work, then they go home, they go to work, they go home. They may feel like you're not someone, or vacation, because the 4 of Cups can be like a retreat, a vacation. So they're like work, home, vacation, work, home, vacation, you know, things like that. Another thing this combination can reveal is that you bring in high quality work and craftsmanship. And you ensure that the services that you're providing, like if you have a customer service position or something that works with customers, you're ensuring that they have a positive experience, especially with this 10 of Cups here. That's what I'm really getting here. Like they make, like if you're in like a position where you're providing a service to someone, they're like, yes, I think this person really focuses on what our users want, what our customers want, what our clients want, what management wants. They try to make sure that whoever's the end goal of whatever you're working on is satisfied with what is being delivered, if that makes sense. Like they feel like you're very focused on that. Definitely a valued part of your team. Though, you know, sometimes we have this Queen of Swords reversed a bit and this Knight of Coins. And the 6 of Coins too. It may feel like if like you're in a position of authority, they may feel like you're one of the team. Okay? They may feel like this is, you know, this isn't like a normal boss situation. They feel like you have like coworker energy. Maybe you're just very down to earth and like relaxed, and that's where it's coming from. But that's the vibe for some of you. I have to emphasize, you know, some of you, because it's a general reading and I want anybody thinking like you're not respected or anything. You're definitely respected. It's just that sometimes they feel like, okay, yeah, I can relate to this person. I'm just like you, and etc. Da 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 da. You may even be a type of person who organizes groups at work, because, you know, sometimes you have like, I know at my previous job, we had groups for like people of color. So you had like African American group, Asian Islander group, LGBTQ plus group. So they may feel like you're either a part of one of those groups that may be organized at work. I think there was even like a kickball team or something like, but like one of those kind of work groups, they may feel like you might be a part of. That's a small bit of you, because really a lot of these cards, the cards kind of represent, I like work, I like home, I'm more reclusive. But it is possible that, you know, for some of you, it can represent that for a small portion of you. And the last thing I want to emphasize is that you look out for your mental health and that you prioritize your well-being. And you might be the type of, if you're like a manager, supervisor position, you might be the type to promote like team building activities, okay? So that you guys feel comfortable working together. If that makes a lot of sense to you, if that's something you do. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. But you definitely somebody who prioritizes their personal commitments. People think that you have a pretty good work life and home life balance. Like of all the pals here, that's you. Like you have a really good work and home life balance. They feel like you're somebody who really looks out for yourself to ensure that all your needs are being met. And you work really hard to ensure that that happens. Yeah, you come off very caring, very balanced, very successful. And sometimes, maybe even somebody, you have a family and people are like, oh yeah, this person's such like a family woman, a family man, in that way. Okay, that's for some of you. So you may be even known professionally as that. You know how like Will Smith, before he slapped Chris Rock, had this like family man reputation for part of his brand and etc. And some people, even at just normal jobs, will just be known as like a family man, family woman, right? So you could have that reputation as well with the 10 of Cups here. And then also, if you're not, for a small group of you, this could also represent like known to be like giving back to the community. So if you're organizing fundraisers, charities to give back, this is for you. But yeah, that is what I have for you, pal, number 5. Like, people definitely sense your dedication to your job and your work, even if you need your space to yourself sometimes. But we all need that. We all need that. That is what I have for you, and I will see you next time. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and au revoir.